New revelations today on the harassment facing those working to protect our democracy, threats based on the former president's baseless claims of fictional widespread election fraud. Reuters is reporting of messages being sent to election workers all across the country and officials like Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and his family. So harrowing, we've decided not to amplify them here. We'll tell you about Raffensperger's response. He said this, quote, "The continuing false claims of a stolen election have led to violent and death threats, intimidation, and claims of prison time coming for election workers. They keep coming. Real leaders need to take steps to stop it. So far, they have not." Joining us now is Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Madam Secretary, I want to get your thoughts to all of the news from the Attorney General on voting rights, but I want to start with this really chilling reporting from Reuters. And I want to ask you, I know you confirm, your staff confirms in this Reuters reporting that you still receive threats. Can you just talk about what that's like to be protecting the will of the voters in your state and face threats of violence for doing so?
Well, it's a consistent reminder at the stakes that we're under right now. I think I've been, I had that moment where people were gathered outside my home in December, and I just realized that they're not, you realize they're protesting democracy, and they're protesting this foundation of our government, and we personify that. Our election administrators personify that. But it's a much bigger threat that we're seeing manifest itself in lots of different ways. It remains chilling, and I agree with Secretary Raffensperger. We need all hands on deck, and we need accountability. That's the only way it's really going to diminish. But that said, I'm also grateful with the removal of the former president from social media. A significant avenue that it would escalate those threats in the past has diminished. So, but here we are now, over 7 months since the polls closed in November 2020, still at the local and state level, dealing with folks who have made violent threats against myself and others, simply because we're doing our job in defending democracy.
And at least for the known threats of domestic violent extremism, it is all rooted in the big lie. President Biden's Attorney General Merrick Garland today trying to sort of step into the voter suppression laws inspired by the big lie. And I would love to hear your reaction to what was announced today.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the ongoing effort to feed the big lie, to continue to seed it with misinformation, like what's happening in Arizona, is manifesting itself in lots of different ways through false legislation in the states that's trying to now respond to the big lie and protect the security of our elections when our elections are already very secure. It was really gratifying to see the federal government, particularly the Attorney General, step up and prioritize protecting the people, protecting our democracy. And I was struck really by two things. One, we talk about in 2020 the battles we fought to protect democracy and how that is escalating. Well, one critical tool we didn't have standing with us at the state and local level in those battles was the Justice Department. And so the fact that we'll now have that with the full panoply of federal protections at play, like the Voting Rights Act and a number of other laws that he mentioned, really is a significant addition to the efforts to protect and defend democracy moving forward. So I'm very grateful for that and the resources that he's putting behind that with my good friend, Kristen Clark, who's now at the helm of the Civil Rights Division, and the resources she'll have. I was also really gratified that he didn't really couch it in partisan terms as much throughout history about race, and really talking about that reality that we've, he quoted President Bush. He made the point that protecting democracy must be and can be and historically has been a bipartisan issue, but then also recognizing the way that race has interwoven throughout efforts to block access to the vote. I think that's an important emphasis that we need to place to recognize the connectivity between even those who make threats against election administrators, the element of the restrictions on democracy being a reaction to an increasingly diverse citizenry and the empowerment that comes through that diversity. It's an important part of the piece here of our to dismantle it. And it was really gratifying to see the Attorney General of the United States take that head on.